Hello. Hi, Francis. Hi, Sharon. I hope you're doing good today. Again, apologies for last time. I know I had to reschedule it twice. I am feeling better, much better, I could say. But I really was not good for anything for quite a bit. So I'm trying to catch up. Hi, Lane. Thank you for making it. Hi, Pamela. Now I'm trying to slowly catch up again on my house chores and on the garden because everything kind of exploded. The last yesterday and today were cold days, so I didn't really do much in the garden. Tomorrow's supposed to be the last cold day, and then we go into full spring, which normally in other places would be a time of joy, but here that means tornado season, so I'm not always happy that spring is here. So anyway, and I am so sorry. I had planned so many things for my birthday and for St. Patrick's Day. Unfortunately, things don't always go the way we would like them to go. I am going to use all kinds of leftovers. Here I have a bronzish thing, but I want to show you various little tips and tricks when it comes to making bezels. And some of them might seem a little bit unusual, but this is what I found in time, in my experience, working better than the standard how you should do it stuff. Sorry, I have, this one is a very loaded mica clay, so I need to make sure that I am doing it properly. Because it leaves pretty strong mica lines. So the first thing depends on what your jewelry is about. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Ilyanka. That is very important because if you are doing costume jewelry, you're going to go for something more metal-like. Try to imitate absolute metal and do your best about it. And if you're doing designer jewelry, and I'm going to show you a few types of bezels, most of the time designer jewelry, I mean, and I'm talking to modern one, not to jewels, okay? Most of the time designer jewelry does not have a bezel, but when it does, it's made to enhance stuff. One of the rules of thumb when it comes to designer jewelry is that you must never make the bezel too intricate so it wouldn't draw the eye away from whatever cabochon or piece it's around. But also when you're doing the costume jewelry style, again, you have to be very careful to imitate metal as metal is worked. For example, and I've said this before, if you try to imitate metal, you do not do texture on the back. because I have yet to see real jewelry, be it antique or modern, with the metal textured on the back, especially when it comes to costume jewelry in the old times. And I'm not talking necessarily about 2,000 years ago, but also like 200 years ago, or even 100-something years ago. There were no laser cutters and rotary engravers and all kinds of stuff to make textured metal. So pretty much what they used was what's called sand casting. So in order to obtain a flat piece of metal, and then they would use a file, a jeweler's file, to make the whole thing flat. The older the jewelry that you try to do a replica of, the more noticeable are the filing lines. So if you're trying to do costume jewelry, avoid doing texture on the back. What I normally use to obtain that effect is a manicure brush or even a toothbrush, depending on what type of clay I'm working with, because that will give me the proper, and I will show you here in a minute. So let me get it through the machine once. So this would be your flat thing, and of course it would be cut to the size of your cabochon and everything. So what you do, you come with your toothbrush or manicure brush, and you just do a few swipes like this. And I'm going to move it around so you can see what's going on. So as you can see, I have very, very fine lines, and you can do that even after you apply the wax or whatever you're applying. I'm going to just put a little bit of goldish here, and I'm going to go very softly over it. I have no idea what I did with my silver. I have 2 tubes of silver, and it's like I never find them. But imagine that this is silver, okay? And I have an iron that I could use, but it's not very silverish. So whatever unevenness you have, that is what you want. That is very important. That is what you want, because this is how actually all the jewelry looks like. And then you can go more with the toothbrush over it, and you will get something that actually has traces of filing. And a lot of times, even if I have little nicks from my fingers or from the blade or from whatever, I leave them as they are, because it just gives more veracity to the whole thing. And what I'm going to do is, I have a few cabochons here that I'm going to use to show you various stuff. They are not really faux stones, they are just plain little things. So let's get this one first. I know I do have some faux stones, but I think they are all in the other room. So one thing that you need to keep in mind, you do not need all those super expensive textures for borders. Yeah, you can use those, of course, if you have them, and if you don't mind spending a bit more and getting those special, because for example, cool tools, which I keep talking about a lot, Give me just a minute. Cool Tools has a lot of stuff special for jewelry, but they are mostly, their textures are mostly directed at PMC, precious metal clay. So yeah, you will see their textures are a little bit deeper, a little bit finer in terms of lines and everything. But I will make one with the Cool Tools and one with the regular cheap, very cheap texture, and you'll see that there isn't really much of a difference. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, as usual, is to first grab my armor roll, that Finnegan stove. He doesn't only topple stuff, but he also walks it around the house, so yeah. Actually, let me get this black, it's better. And I'm going to cut it to make it more. And especially for this, you can use, remember that blackout that I showed you in 2 previous videos. Alright, so let's get back to it. And you don't have to use all the width, obviously. So what I usually do, I choose what part I want the most, and it has to be a little bit tighter. So you can see these are pretty much the same thing, only that they are on a different scale. So let's go with this one. And yes, Finnegan is okay now. His tuna squeezables is back in the house, so he doesn't have reasons to throw tantrums anymore, but it was very difficult for 2 days because those are his most favorite treats, and usually they get one a day. He splits it with Connor. And last time I ordered, there was a delay. Actually, the package was damaged in transit, so they sent me another one, and it took 2 days more to get it. So for 2 days I had pure tantrum. So try to follow the line. Even if you're not perfectly on the line, you'll be able to cut it out from the clay. There we go, and I want to go for the little circlets here. So I'm going to try and get the clay aligned. So here it's a little. Still. Trying to find my eyeglasses. So I'm having a little bit of issues with seeing this black on black. And there we go. So I get one side, it's no, this needs. If I could see through the clay, then I would be able to do a very perfect straight thing, but I am not. Alrighty, so this would be one, and this would be the other one. So one of the things that you want to do, let me see if it's enough for the big one. Yes, it is. So I'm going to place it on a mirror. And then the main thing that you need to do is to make sure that you cut it where it would be kind of like seamless, but to be very honest, I wouldn't remove, in order to do this, I would not remove the cabochon yet from the mirror. I would leave it there, so I would get, and yes, I would make first the cabochon and then the backing. Because I realized it's much less work to fit them two together. So I want it to end at one of these. So if you see that it's not perfectly aligning, you just stretch it a bit. So my best bet will be here. And if it does not align perfectly, again, you can stretch it a bit. But always go for the very top. You don't want to put it to the sides or anything. So go for the very top and just simply coax it. And make sure it is well and flush with the rest of the cabochon all over the place. All right, so you will see when I put the wax on it that this is a pretty good flush here. The second thing that you need to do, hi Darla, is to gently, and you can do this if you have a very small roller, if you have one Teresa Salgado's Tiny Pandora's things for canes, or with the handle of a paintbrush, you want to do a gentle bevel on the edges, but very gentle, very, very gentle, barely touching it. Because generally speaking, these bezels on jewelry They are not done by putting a texture on the metal, then cutting a strip and putting it around the cabochon. Usually the most when it's not filigree, and there I can go a little bit more here this way. Going to go with my, to make sure it is flush and nice here. And then they would come with a tiny chisel, and they would start chiseling the whole pattern. Now, the second thing that you need to do, and it's very important, normally this is not done on a piece of costume jewelry when it's done in metal and all that. You will have a setting. So the setting, I'll have to go again through the machine with it. The setting is fairly flat, and not only that, but it's going to be much thinner than the rest. So I'm going with like a 7 on a makings, and you cut one side straight, and you don't want to come too far up the cabochon. So as I said, we imagine that this is a 4 gemstone cabochon, and then the second time you cut, you want to cut, as I said, not too tall, but you go ahead and you go in a diagonal like this. I messed up a little bit here, but that's fine. Make sure that you didn't leave any kind of little frazzles. And the other thing that I normally do is putting the wax first on. And why is that? Because I don't want any of the wax to get on the cabochon. Even if you can clean it with alcohol, you have to go very fast. But especially if you're using Art Alchemy's wax, it's going to be there. You're going to see it. So I prefer to just go over my my clay directly. Where's my paper towel? There it is. And this is not, I realize what I did, this is not a regular black, this is a black with blackout in it, so I shouldn't have gone so much through the pasta machine with it. Because your main problem is not so much on the sides of the setting, it is on that diagonal thing. So you want to insist really good on the sides of the setting. And again, before I do anything else, I am going to do one more thing. make a little snake. But this is optional. You don't have to do this. It's just if you want to. Because it's a very, very meticulous thing to do. And I will do that only when I do smallish. So I'm gonna go in 4. And then gently wedge up one end. So put them here. And then gently get the wax on them too. Hey, didn't go all the way to the top. Alrighty, so this would be it. I'm all fully prepared. And I'm going to first grab the setting. And again, start at the very top. And here you need to really be careful and make sure that it is nice and flush. Try to get it to grip properly here. Hey. And your first thing is to make it stand up straight. Don't worry about getting it around. That's not very important. And again, I chose this specific cabochon because it's a little bit bigger, so you can see what I'm doing. So you want to go flush with the bezel underneath. And just keep going all around, making sure it is going all the way to the bottom. And bring it all the way up here. Don't cut until you know that it is all nice and flush all over the place. Use the blunt side of your rigid blade to be even more secure, and then you can cut it, as you can see where the other end is. And don't worry much about the seamless part, because you can cover that with wax. Hi Christina, how's it going? How's the weather like in Romania? And then you can come and very gentle from the outside inwards bend. If you have any, see how it's not fully and totally perfectly straight, You can come with a needle if you want to. It's entirely up to you, but I'm going to first make sure that it is all nicely set here. And I'm going to do one more pass with the wax, true, but I first want to make sure that it looks metallish, and then go, because we want to make it look very metallic-y. Yeah, no, two things that got, hi Mona, two things that got me messed up again, or it messed up my sleep, and golly, did I lose some hair. Yes, stress does that to you. And now why I said that sometimes I do use these, not always, but when I want to add more realism, I would add prongs. And now I can go ahead and do the rest of the bezel with wax. And for this, I normally use one of my silicone tip tools. Most of the time I use I forgot to glue this back, it started coming off from here. Most of the time I use the flat one, but you don't have to use necessarily the flat one. You can use whichever of them. Can you use your finger? Yeah, I mean, let's try. I usually do with the pinky when I have a thin thing to go. Oops, I just removed the prong. Oops, oopsie, oopsie daisy. Hey. Stuff happens. And there we go. I forgot about the prongs. I should have done this first and then put up the prongs, but and as I said, that you can fix stuff by using using your wax for certain things. Let me zoom in so you can see exactly how. There we go. So I'm going to grab a little bit of wax on this, and I have this here, right? You can actually fill in, especially if you're using the Art Alchemy, but it works for other waxes too. You can actually fill in with wax. What the heck? any little crevices and stuff. And I can go ahead and use a little bit, but I wouldn't put a second layer of wax until after it's all baked. And let's fix the bezel one at the very top. If I can find it, it's right here. So in a matter of gently overfilling a little bit of wax. And then the tool is mostly for what is close to the setting. I guess I had a line here I didn't notice. Let's fix that. And then it's going to be, after you bake it, you can do the side, because you don't want the side to be left black. And there we go, we have a very nice costume jewelry type. I'll unzoom in a second. Alrighty, let's unzoom. And you can see it does look like metal cabochon. This would be something that's better done with whatchamacallit, like cameos, but you can use on faux gemstone stuff as well. Now, as I said, this would be one that is done with a fancy texture. But as I said, you don't need a fancy texture. I normally use what's called curlicues from Makins, not Matrix, Makins. But this time I'm going to use another Makins. That is simply the snake scale. Okay, and this works fine too. And I need to make sure that my scales are up. So I'm going to put the clay like this. And as you know, it goes through the pasta machine. That's the beauty about Makins. I'm first getting my clay through the machine. And I'm going to use this side. And only use, it's going to get elongated anyway. And once again, put a little bit of armor on it. And then place it Once again, try to go fairly straight on it. And get it in the machine. And I'm going to go with a slow. It didn't come up very straight, but that's fine. I can straighten it up with the cutting part. Alrighty. So let me see, which should I choose, because I don't want to use one that wouldn't fit well. And what I got here. It's not a cabochon. I'm trying to find a more cabochon stuff. Oh, there we go. I can use this. It was that. This was the trick that I showed you with the cellophane, with iridescent cellophane. How you can make a fire opal look-alike. Yeah, it looks pretty neat. Alrighty, so I'm going to place this here. So we're gonna do a fire opal. And as I said, I'm going to just use the cutting part to create my line. This would be one. And once again, the second one needs to go a little bit on a diagonal. It's not perfectly cut. Okay, you cannot see what I'm doing because of the shadow of the blade. So I want this kind of like in the middle of the scale. Okay. Yeah, we had some rain yesterday. We weren't supposed to, so I didn't take any rain measures. And then there was a big blob that formed to my west and started coming this way, so that was it. So this I'm not gonna go through all the putting the setting and everything. I just want to show you that it can look good even if you don't have a super duper texture. So I'm going to give it the wax treatment first. But again, remember, this you can do with regular full cabochons. That's nice. That's a nice weather. Here it is. Let me see. Right now. Come on, Weather Channel. Weather. Another delivery. Oh yeah, great. It's one of the sensors is messed up. Let me try the Wiley. So it's 16 degrees here right now. Okay, so I'm going to again go with cut at a certain angle, at a certain place, and I'll have to find the exact same. Okay, so as before, I am going, this is, somebody played with this. Somebody floofy. I can't wait for warmer temperatures because then I can turn the AC on and not have worries of closing this door, the door to this room, because the way that my house, my heating was built is that, I don't know, to conserve, this is too big. I'm gonna use my itty-bitty one here. To conserve for economies and stuff, you can set the thermostat in the hall to like 55, and if you close the bedroom doors with the heat going, it's going to be a balmy 72 in there. But I cannot have, because I cannot close my bedroom door, because if I leave the kitties outside, they are going to whine and scratch at the door, and if I leave them inside, they are going to whine and scratch at the door. So I cannot close only one bedroom door, and if I close only this bedroom door and the thermostat is at 72 or 71, then goodness gracious me, all the clay in this room is going to get baked. Okay, so as you can see, it's a beautiful, gorgeous bezel. Why I didn't go like this? Because I want them to look the same, and I will make them look the same. Remember, all you need to do is to coax the clay to do what you want. So I'm going to pull a little bit. And this is too long. And there we go. And remember, I said that you can fix, so let me zoom in again to show you how you can fix that line where they come together. So right here, see, right here, and you can fix this line simply with the wax. So you can practically use any texture to make a bezel. You don't have to have a special texture. And of course, there's going to be more wax. after it's baked, so it's going to be much better. And once again, the little beveling is going to make it look even more like metal. I know I'm getting out of focus because I'm in zoom. But I cannot really leave that flat on the table and use just this. There we go. Let me unzoom. I'm not unzooming all the way through, so you can see it closer. But as you can see, it's making a beautiful bezel. If you want to use, and I've shown you that before, if you want to use the long screw, I call it the long screw. It's a rod. I forgot how it's called. Something rod. Hold on a second. I shall tell you in a second because it is in my influencer store. In the textures, it is threaded rod. See, these look way daintier than what I have, so it's almost 10 inches with an M6. So it should be almost as big as mine, I think. But it will be in textures, in the textures section, if you don't want to have to go all the way to low. There is one thing that you need to keep in mind now, and I'm not going to make a full, because normally I do a full sheet so I can cut in a diagonal. This time I'm going to not make a full sheet. I'm going to place the clay in a diagonal and then give it some armor roll before I forget. Because you want it to be, you want the thread to be on a diagonal so that you can imitate the rope setting. It is much easier to do it this way than to try and twist two strings. It is way easier. But I'm going to just get a random little thing. Has to be little thing. Yeah, let's get this little thing here. It should work. Maybe not. Maybe not. It's not. It's a bit too big. Let's get this faux labradorite. Remember when I showed you how to make a faux labradorite using resin and color shift acrylics? It doesn't go dark though, that's the only issue. And if you want to revisit. Oh, come on, load already. If you want to revisit it, this is the link. All right, so I'm going to cut straight. Could have done it a little bit thinner, but I think that should be okay. Let me wax it first. And I need my camera to see what I'm doing. Hey. And then we're gonna cut a strip. And once again, remember, we are going to coax the whole thing. Oh no, this is not sitting very well. I need to see, it's not perfectly even. I need to, but as I said, I would do these without removing from the mirror. Once they are baked, I would leave them there. I have a lot of tiny things in this box, but I don't want to go all the way to the kitchen or the other room to get something else. Trying to find another small one, like, oops. But of course I have to drop stuff. Let's see this one. Even if it's not really a classical thing. So once again, I'm going to coax the thing to go straight, and you want it to be perfectly, and it's a little bit short, so I'm going to pull it a little bit. But again, it depends a lot on the size of, if you want it threaded much longer or not so long. Okay, so I need to trim this, see right here, to make it less conspicuous. I need to trim thread to thread. And then this comes. have the nice thing here, that is and as before, a slight beveling. Trust me, once you're done and you do the edge as well, it's going to look much better if it is slightly beveled than if it is straight. There we go. See, very metallic-y looking. So, as I said, you don't need super duper special butterfly bezel textures to make good looking bezels. You can use all kinds of things, even one of the texturing sponges, even, and I've shown you before how this is something that I use often in my work. This is from where I keep my sculpting tools, and it makes a wonderful texture. And I also used it, I don't know if you remember when I made, let me find it, the faux snake. Uses this and a specific cane to get to the end. And get the display. Hey, not you. You. This is how you can make a faux snakeskin bracelet, and that is the texture that I used in that tutorial. But once again, next Sunday I think I might go into the designer stuff bezels, like for stuff like this, all kinds of, and this was made with I think Lisa Papelka. I'm not entirely sure, I'll have to check which of them, but it was on I think it was one of my sponsors. It was with the Lisa Pavelka texture. Anyway, I'll show you how to do bezels for designer, more abstract jewelry. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. You'll try yourself, and good luck. I'll try to hop in more during the week. I'm not sure if I manage to get back on track with my house chores. I still didn't manage to vacuum, so you can imagine after a week how my carpets look like with 2 long hairs in the house. But again, I'm feeling a bit better, and thank you so much for your understanding. Don't forget to check my affiliate links with Amazon and Polyclay Play. Trish always has some sales. Love you, and don't forget to thumbs up. See you next Sunday. Bye.